All right, everybody, welcome to I Screened, You Screen for Movies for Sunday, May 7th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We are doing it live. And yes, I have a guest right here, but I was going to introduce myself. My name is Danny, and I have a welcoming new guest on this show. He's actually one of my community buddies of mine. I want to actually try to have people like him on my podcast around. So everybody, this is one of my new guests right here. Mohammed Elzayat. Thank you for joining and welcome.
Thank you for having me, Danny. It's an honor to be here, honestly.
Great. That's awesome. So before we get started, introduce yourself a little more about yourself before we get started. Tell us about yourself.
Like you said, Mohammed Elzayat. Everybody calls me Blenzayat nowadays. I'm a barber. I went to school with Danny. I've known him for what feels like my whole life.
I've been there for at least like what, 2
time.
I've been transferred for at least 2 more years for that, and I met you. Yeah. So we got a lot of history.
Yeah, I met Danny when I was probably 15. So
yeah, and I was like 16.
I'm 22 now. Yeah. It's been a good ride, me and my boy. It's been a really good ride.
I'm 23, so yeah, we still know each other. Back to back blood, football, etc., etc. We've been boys,
Everything.
so.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, but why don't we just get started? So, to tell the listeners, myself, we are going to be reviewing to kicking off one of the summer blockbusters going on, which I'm very, very excited. The summer movie going has never been better since last year. We had great hits last year, like Top Gun, Thor, Jurassic, Black Phone, Elvis, etc. A lot of great hits of the summer last year, and now we're kicking things off this year with a ton of blockbusters. But the one I have to officially start off to review for my podcast is a movie. Obviously, the MCU is in a big fatigue going on, according to a lot of feedbacks and everything. Ant-Man and the Wasp was like a garbage movie I just completely had issues with. But this film, I had never doubts because it's being directed by one of the greatest comic book filmmakers. I never doubt. Even I talked to Elzayat about this guy. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he knows him already before I even mention him. But we are talking Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. This is the third film of the trilogy of the Guardians, directed by James Gunn. So, me and Elzayat have went to see it this past Thursday night on May 4th, and I had a lovely, great time, and never had issues with this movie, actually. So, just to get things off the go, what is your quick thoughts to this movie, Elzayat, before we get into further topics? What do you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
I didn't watch Volume 1 or 2, so I didn't have like crazy expectations. I always thought that the Guardians was like the rejects of superheroes, you know what I'm saying? But man, I had so much fun watching it. It was hilarious, action-packed, very sad. I don't even know how to explain it. Whirlwind of emotions. Honestly, it blew my mind. Like Danny knows, we were talking about James Gunn. He caught me lacking, and he silenced me because I thought it was gonna be a bad movie. Ended up being a great movie. So I recommended it to everybody that I know after I watched it. So that says enough on its own. Honestly, I loved it.
That's right. James freaking Gunn has done it. And not to mention, he's done the other Guardians movies, but the last one he did before directing this was The Suicide Squad. That's when I had a big surprise from James Gunn when he did DC with The Suicide Squad. Lovely, awesome movie. Probably one of the best DCs I watched. And I had a lot of faith going forward to Guardians 3. And yes, I was able to watch the past Guardians, unlike Elzayat. I had to watch them before watching the third one. The first one was amazing. The second one was decent at best. And I remember watching Infinity War and Endgame, which it's important to get the backstory of these characters of the Guardians, especially the first two, because they had like stories of how the Guardians were formed, the characters of the backstory, especially Infinity War and Endgame. They have backstories on like certain characters. And then you have the Guardians Holiday Special, which I thought it was pretty funny. Kevin Bacon was great.
Was that a movie? Was that a whole movie?
It's a 40-minute holiday. It's a 40-minute TV something like special, you know, for Disney Plus. Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. Bad.
So it's a little important to even throw that out because it's also have a little something to know for people. So like Star-Lord and Mantis are like half brother, half sister. That's not a spoiler, obviously, but it's been known coming, so just to give you guys the idea. So now Guardians 3 focuses on a lot of Rocket, which I gotta say, let me tell you, Rocket's my favorite character.
I'm not
Rocket
complaining.
is one of the dopest MCU characters. And not to mention, he is... I keep forgetting the fact, even before that, he's voiced by one of the greatest actors from... You all know him from The Hangover, American Sniper, etc., etc. You got Bradley Cooper. I love the fact he puts so much enthusiasm in his voice. I never thought he was in the MCU like that so much, but he was awesome. So all this backstory going on is the whole movie with this character as Rocket, as well as how the Guardians of the Galaxy has coming down to the wire. And this has been a ride with James Gunn making these characters come to life in such directional style. So, to start that idea, what do you think of Rocket and his backstory? What's been like hitting you since you watched the movie, Elzayat?
I'll give... Let me get a second. Let's get my words right. I feel like I never really thought too much into his backstory. You know, I was like, you always question, how does a raccoon know how to talk? Like, where's this raccoon coming from? But I never really paid too much mind into it. I was like, screw, I'm watching a whole universe filled with superheroes, so a raccoon shooting guns isn't too far-fetched. But for them to put like that much emphasis on it, and not emphasis but detail, and really explain it as thoroughly as they did. And like Danny was saying, I never really watched Guardians 1 or 2, but I did watch a recap video that Danny sent me, and it played a little bit into showing me how he was like not created, but how he became Rocket. And then this movie just like, even had you not watched the recap or even the previous movies, you could go into it blindly, because I essentially did go into it blindly, and it painted the entire picture for me perfectly. And it was, like I said, it's cool, but it's also pretty sad, and you don't realize how... I mean, obviously because I'm trying not to spoil it as much as possible, but you realize that not everybody has... I mean, it's a common theme in the MCU, but Rocket's another person or animal or superhero that doesn't really have the easiest upbringing. And I'm glad he got the attention that, one, the fans wanted, and the attention that he deserves as a character, because he's honestly one of the funniest, coolest, and then the most devious too characters of the entire MCU. So if it's not Spider-Man, for me it's Rocket. So
I agree.
I like the way they brought it up. I like the way they
I
brought
like
him
what
up and
James
gave him
Gunn.
the attention.
I love what James Gunn really care about these characters. This is how you make these character developments so well. So it's the first Guardians. You got how the Guardians were formed, especially half of like Peter Star-Lord's how he began before like living in space and all that. And the second one, it's how...
That's one thing I wish I got to see that, because he is hilarious. Like Chris Pratt.
Yeah. And
is way too funny.
We'll get to the cast, but other than that, you got Volume 2, which explores a little more on Star-Lord's his father and his mother about that as well, what really happened. And I believe how he's adapted to some of the people that... I forgot the blue guy's name. I'm so bad at knowing these names, but the blue guy picked him up when he was a kid, adopted him like his father, mentor to him, which is something special. And then Infinity War and Endgame, the backstories were on Nebula and Gamora, especially in relation to Thanos. And then the I Am Groot stuff on Disney Plus shows you, I guess, how Groot is Groot. And then the holiday special, how Star-Lord and Mantis are like half brother, half sister from the second movie, and all that. And then and then James Gunn, officially... Is
his name Yondu?
Yondu, thank you. Okay, Yondu was his father and was his father mentor to him. A lot of that. That was the heart of that second movie, at least for that. Even though it's been decent, but then the third Guardians, Rocket. I don't know how to say it. He's obviously, I think I'm gonna I'm going to be real for this real quick. I think he's exactly, not only my character, I mean, the Guardians, the third movie, has to be my favorite. I was coming in like...
I mean, I can't say that because I haven't watched the other two, but I was going to ask you, do you think it's better than the other two?
Yeah, because I watched the trailers for the Guardians 3. The first one was emotional, and then the second was the same feeling like that, so I was expecting how emotional this movie can be, and James Gunn proved all of that. It's emotional. It's very, very emotional for Rocket, at least. The backstories will, like... It's not traumatizingly hard, but, like, it's faithfully well made for how Rocket became Rocket, you know? That feeling was, like, the most thing that pumped my heart right there during the sequence of, like, that certain scene in the movie. That completely amped me up for that movie. And on top
I know what you're saying.
Oh, my God.
I
almost cried, spoilers, dude. Man,
I was trying not to tear up, and then I looked and I seen you. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start watching the movie like this because,
man, dude.
Because if it's getting to my boy, then it's going to start getting to me.
Like, wow. So, yeah, I think Rocket...
We both stretched at the same time. That's so ironic.
Rocket is, like, the best part of the movie to me, and that's why I truly love this movie. Especially, I want to know more about this character. Bradley Cooper done a good job, and he nailed his career-ending look with Rocket in this trilogy. God knows he will return. Again, I don't know. I hate to bring much of this question, but it is the third final Guardians film of the trilogy. We don't know what's going to happen, especially they're having the Avengers movie in a couple years, the Kang Dynasty, Secret Wars. So we don't know for that for sure. It's still developing going on. So yeah, Rocket was definitely the heart of the movie. I loved it. I loved it every scene of it, no matter how emotionally hard it gets. The trailer did a good job showing what's really about and the character coming together as well too. So, let's go to the cast real quick. So like I touched base on Bradley Cooper, so there's nothing more to talk about. You mentioned Chris Pratt. So he's coming out from voicing Mario from the Mario movie. He proved everybody wrong that he loved his character when he was a kid. And the same thing goes to Star-Lord. He's done a good job nailing his career with that. Do you agree?
Absolutely. The first time I met him, the first time I saw him was Avengers. Was it Avengers Infinity War?
Yeah.
And since then, he's been the funniest character in the entire MCU, for me at least. So, I got nothing bad to say about him. He is the fun. He's hilarious, bro. If not him, then it's got to be Dave Bautista, but...
Man, Dave Bautista? Oh, I'm loving you brought touching him. Man, look. Dave Bautista, former WWE. He's coming off from Knock at the Cabin. He's coming off from Beast Robot from Dune, and we're getting to see him part 2 this year. Loved how you finished off with Drax. He is so funny, and yet he's serious. I
can't wait to I really look forward, I hope they do something with Drax because Drax deserves.
This is exactly Dave Bautista's final outing. So we may not get to see him come back as the character. I don't know, unless something more of his motivation changes his mind. I don't know. Especially if the character
himself is coming back. Are done, right?
Yeah, Zoe Zendaya. Yeah, she's also done with Gamora. She also done a great job. Loved her touch of her work. Even she's coming off from Avatar as Nitari. Even the first Avatar. That's like the last film I saw from her.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah. She voice motion captured Nitari. Yeah, from Avatar. James Cameron.
I still need to watch that.
Oh, probably wait till it hits in theaters again, because I guarantee you that's the best way to see Avatar. James Cameron just loves Lee.
Oh yeah, this was my first time watching movie in IMAX or Super IMAX.
The Super IMAX, which is in Michigan, by the way. We both Michiganders, so if you're in Michigan and you if you're in Michigan, for people listening or watching, and if you know what Super IMAX is, you already know what we're talking about. If you're a Michigander, pretty much.
Facts.
And then Vin Diesel as Groot. He gets nothing much but to say, "I'm Groot." Like, every scene and every line, but I still think he's funny. At least. What do you think of him?
I didn't even realize it was Vin Diesel the entire movie.
Dude.
I didn't realize till the end. Yeah, not much. Groot's just Groot. That's it. You can't really say much. He's a funny character, but he's obviously made by the other characters because he says something, and then they say what he's saying.
It's the translation of saying, "I'm Groot," and they understand what he's talking about. That's the idea there.
It always hits. It always hits, so.
Yeah, so Vin Diesel.
He does his role, and then the other people knock it out. His surrounding characters and coworkers knock it out the park for him.
Oh yeah. And speaking of that, we're get to see him in Fast X is coming out in a couple weeks. I can't wait to see him and what the final Fury.
You can do that by yourself, my boy.
Yeah, I know. I was not gonna ask you to see Fast X, but screw it, it's fine. I have someone else in mind, anyways. But we'll get to see how he finishes his career in Fast and Furious.
Shout him out. Shout out who you gonna watch it with.
Can't say it. It's a raw feed.
Oh,
I'm still planning right now, but yeah, nothing.
That's what I'm thinking of, though, right?
No, I wasn't thinking of you. I know you were at a ride and die watching.
It's who I'm thinking of. It's who I'm thinking of. You already told me.
Oh yeah. I don't want to call his name out, but you'll.
Shout out him though. Shout out him.
We'll see. So I don't know if you know Karen Gillan. She plays Nebula from all the movies. She's awesome. I loved her voice. I loved her style. I loved her performance as Nebula. I liked further on from the first Guardians. I was trying to get to know a lot of her, and then knowing a lot about her, I liked her attitude in playing Nebula. She actually did a great job. I'm not sure if you know a lot of Karen Gillan, but she completely well finished as Nebula. What do you think?
I didn't care for Nebula in the Avengers movies, but this movie was gave me a slight difference in perspective of her. If I'm being honest, I still don't really care for the character, but that's just because the other ones are it's like comparing what could I even say? It's like comparing badminton to football. I'm not saying badminton's a bad sport, but you're comparing it to one of the best sports. So I'm not saying she's a bad character, but you're comparing her to Chris Pratt and Star-Lord and Dave Bautista and Drax, so it's hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to bring touch base her because I like her character a lot as the movies go. So she's done a good job.
You know who was underrated for me and was one of the GOATs, I'm not gonna lie, was Mantis.
Yeah, Mantis. She's played by let me see. She's played by Palm. I'm bad. Oh yeah, Palm Kelamatafi. I can't say her name. Fuck, it's Rafi. She's done a good job as Mantis. I can't. I'm so bad when saying these names and thinking about these names without the list in my head. But that's what I mean. But she's also an underrated character, which I think I'm glad she got the attention through these Guardians movies. Well said. And then I want to touch base on the villains. So the villains are somewhat developed well. Let me just go on to Warlock. He's played by Will Poulter. In case no one knows this guy well, he's from We're the Millers, The Revenant. Those are the movies I'm pretty sure I know.
Oh, yeah. Him, bro.
Yeah, him. Yeah, I didn't understand what the beginning is going to be with this character, but later on, I understand. We both understood well. I'm sure the people understand that if they've seen the movie. I actually liked a lot to what the character came out to be. I like it. It's pretty self-explanatory if you see the movie, but I liked it. He was
exactly what the Guardians of the Galaxy needed. A very, very funny villain.
Oh yeah, isn't he?
It makes the movie.
I heard him the way he talks. He's like a baby. I don't know if that's the case, but I think
they're trying to pin him as the new Golden Boy.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and then let me see. They also have another villain, which he relates to Rocket's backstory. He is played by Chok Wudu Iwuji. He plays High Revolutionary. Now I thought this character may be annoying to me the way he acts, but I think he was also a good villain. I liked what the story was with this character, what he does for what this movie is.
He confused, I would like to probably do a little more research on him, but he kind of confused me, with where he gets his authority from or his strengths or any of you know what I'm saying? I don't know where any of that comes from, but that's probably my lack of knowledge, but he wasn't a bad villain at all.
Oh yeah.
Just another power obsessed super genius.
Yep. And a sadistic one too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I wanted to mention what's it called? James Gunn does have a brother. He plays Sean Gunn plays as Kraglin from the second and first Guardians, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think the second Guardians, the third Guardians, and the holiday special. He plays as, like I said, Kraglin, the one with the arrow that he's been gifted by Yondu.
Okay.
So okay. I like his character.
That's cool. Too. His brother's the director.
Yep. And he also his brother also did Weasel which it was short lived in Suicide Squad. So
Yeah, so I like. I think I don't know if they're gonna try doing more with that character, but I liked his role in this one. He was there when you needed him, but not too much attention.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's like other cameos and shit that's been listed. I'm reading off my phone, but I think the main ones we have to give all well was Chris, Brad, Zoe Zandada, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, Palm as Mantis, Sean Gunn, like the people that play the Guardians well throughout these movies. They put up a show, and the way
They really did, bro.
and the way James Gunn puts out the whole characters together, that's well done. I think the Guardians of the movies has been well said best that he is the lifesaver, and the MCU at least has a trilogy that's been well relied by a filmmaker coming back to do all these movies. So
you know what I like? Although I don't listen to music, I like their use of music throughout the movie.
I love to talk about that on the other topics before we even get to the end. But yeah, the other musics, I love what James Gunn is so creative on. He did the same with the Suicide Squad as well. The soundtracks and shit like was crazy good. But the music that's been composed was also good, especially the other movies. I just like the style he's going with. And now he's doing Superman Legacy, which he's directing from DC, which we're going to discuss about that in a sec as we're about to like honor his words because James Gunn is just one special guy. What's your best part in like the whole film? Because I'll go first because I love that certain scene where the all Guardians were coming together and they're about to like in the final act of it. Not to spoil too much, but the action and the cinematography was like the greatest feeling part. And that third song, which I know was they used that in the Mario movie and they brought it to this movie. It was so good. Even that's not a bad song, and using the right scene of that was so well done. Man, that cinematography was so amazing.
What level of are we going? Absolutely 0% spoilers.
Like 0% spoilers.
Okay, so my favorite scene was the opening fight.
The opening fight of like
the first fight of the movie.
Oh yeah, with Warlock. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Not to spoil too much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I just enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Because that was it was an introduction of. Yeah, I'll say that. I enjoyed that. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
It introduced his character, and if I remember correctly, it made me laugh. And it showed me that, this guy's not going to be that one annoying villain. Yeah, it did make me laugh. I remember. I don't want to spoil it, but there was one specific thing that made me laugh, and it was just like, okay, it's not your same old typical super serious super villain who's out to destroy the world. It was like, oh, this guy's actually a person. He's funny, and I was there for it. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, totally. So is there any other things we should like touch base on before we get to the final part of like this recording on the raw feed?
Whatever you want to do, my boy. Whatever you want to do.
All right, let's go on to the final part. So James Gunn, I want to give an honoring word to thank you. Like we all should appreciate the fact James Gunn done a good job with these movies. Never fails, never disappoints, and he shows support on the side of the MCU. And now I did touch base to you that he is now with DC. He's working with DC to reset the universe of DC, refreshing the start. He's working on Superman Legacy, which they're shooting it next year. So, in all faith, I have so much faith in James Gunn. I love his work. I love his creativity. So, I would never put this thing away from James Gunn. He's done a good job. So, Elzayat, for the favor of this podcast on the Raw Feed, I want to give a big applause to James Gunn and appreciate a lot of his amazing work and how much he never fails to make these movies laugh. Well developed, well said. Let's give him big hands for his moment.
My man James Gunn, he shut me up. I'll tell you that much. Definitely shut me up.
Yeah, so perfectly said, done. James Gunn, keep doing what you're doing, and we all hope you can do well in the DC side. Good luck to everything you have, and thank you so much for making and reliving a little of the MCU with Guardians, which, by the way, I want to bring up, it's way better than last year we had the same movie of the MCU, but a different movie with this MCU film, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. that one really flopped pretty bad to me. My expectations were disappointing.
I agree.
If I had to compare that, Guardians should have been like last year. I would have been putting this in my top 10 of the year. Because I guarantee it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It was not my anticipated movie. I wasn't strong in MCU since what the films were disappointing, but I am definitely putting this in my top 10 of the year. I am so relieved. James Gunn never fails. So, and we won't get another MCU film for a while until the Marvels, which comes out in November. That's too soon to speak. I don't know how that film's going to be like, especially the first trailer was weird. So I'm still going to be looking into watching that. But, I mean, I don't hate Captain Marvel. I'm not one of those people who hate her. But I just want to understand more of it. I didn't even watch the first Captain Marvel. Believe me. I'm behind the stuff. Trust me. And I didn't watch Miss Marvel. It's a lot of freaking homework. I know. It's crazy. So there's a lot of things I have to do to, like... I might watch a recap. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'd rather just... Look. I don't know why. I think the homework thing is just being lazy, but I'd rather watch the Guardians because James Gunn was just so better. I mean, James Gunn just makes these movies so good.
That's facts.
So, I want to explain my rankings. So, I love the third one as my number one, the first one is my second, and the second as my third. So, it's self-explanatory. I did say I love the third one way, way more. It was not going to be the number one I love, but it had everything. It was the way to end it off, and James Gunn done it. So, and if you did watch the Guardians trilogies, would you consider putting the third one as your number one or anything by chance?
I don't see the other ones being.
It's fine.
I like seeing backstories of characters more than introductions. And the backstory of Rocket was just awesome.
Absolutely.
It was heartfelt. I like heartfelt. So, yeah, this is one of my favorite Marvel movies, if I'm being honest.
Oh, me too.
Spider-Man is my favorite character. I think the best movie
I feel like this is the movie we ever got well said since Wakanda Forever may be subject to people's opinions.
Hey, that was a good movie.
Oh, you saw it. Yeah, I love.
That was a.
It was a good one too. Yeah, it was a good one. Ryan Coogler did it well.
That was a damn good movie.
And Spider-Man: No Way Home and Shang-Chi. I feel like those were the last three best before the rest.
You're naming really good movies right now,
dude. Of course, I know so well in the MCU. I'm glad I'm catching up to the story and everything. So that's
bro. I was about to say my favorite movie is Infinity War, and then damn, this guy Danny just named a bunch of bangers. So I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I liked Wakanda Forever a lot. The soundtrack I loved.
The emotional roller coaster. I just never disrespect.
Man.
No matter if the star
I might rewatch it tonight.
No matter if the star is not there or not. I mean, this is the fact. We all have been there for the legacy to honor Chadwick Boseman. I mean,
his sister in the movie. I don't know what her actress name is, but
Latifah. Latifah. Oh my god,
she stepped up.
She stepped up very good. We're going to see her again. We're going to get to see her again in the further on. That's for sure. That's a new Black man we're talking about.
Hell yeah.
All right. Is there anything else we need to discuss or bring up before we end this podcast? This episode.
You tell me. I'm down. I got maybe another 5-6 minutes.
I think that's it. I got nothing. But Guardians of the Galaxy 3, well said. Like Elzayat said, most recommended. I love the movie. To report the box office real quick, movie made over $114 million above the first one, but behind the second one, which made over 140 something since 2017. Now that's because the MCU is in fatigue, but I'm here to support. This movie's gonna have great legs. Is James Gunn? It's gonna have a good set of weeks until Fast and X, Little Mermaid, and June. So I think the legs are gonna be just outstanding as possible. The word of mouth has been good. I highly recommend this movie of the month at the moment, at least. If all the other movies fail to impress me, I think Guardians is the best film to me of May, for sure. And a great way to kick off summer, just like that.
Facts.
All right. Thank you so much, Thank you so much, Elzayat, for hopping on, as a welcoming guest. Where now you're not a podcaster or anything, but and you're a Michigander who's a barber. If anything, I'll hit you up anytime, whenever you're down, and I can totally invite you back on my show whenever possible, or just let me know.
But Danny, I'm more than just a barber, bro. I'm your boy. You're one of my boys, Danny.
Yeah.
I'm here always, bro. I had a blast. I'd love to do it again. if I'm good enough to be here, then I'd love to be here.
Awesome. All right, everybody. For the new audiences listening to this podcast or this episode, if you are enjoying this, expect more content. Please follow and subscribe to this podcast. I got Fast X is my next film. I will be reviewing, of course, one of my top 10 anticipated films in my list. So I'm very looking for to see Fast X, even if the franchise should have been dead. But yeah, pretty much it. So follow and subscribe to my podcast, whatever you're listening on. Follow my social media platforms on Twitter at ISUS4MPod. It's also in the show notes of the description of the episode. Follow my TikTok at iScreen for Movies, where I'll be posting movie quick review thoughts out of the theaters, audiograms, etc. And my email's open at dscomlodge@gmail.com if you want to reach me out to anything, questions. You're welcome to reach me out on this podcast. I would gladly answer whatever questions. Don't forget to also, listeners, leave me a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, but Apple's the one that really matters to help make my podcast a little more on the horizon for people to find and search my show. And yeah, Elzayat, I think we have done it for now. I don't think there isn't left to say except until next time, I'll be screaming you all at I Screened, You Scream for Movies. Nailed it.